Meet the sheriffs.
Let's go and introduce ourselves.
We're High Court enforcement officers.
We're here today to execute a High Court writ.
They're the men whose job it is to get you your money back.
It's an arrestable offence to stop me and do my job.
If you've been ripped off and don't know where to turn,
I'm not waiting anymore. I'm ordered to seize goods to clear this debt, which would mean clearing this place out.
if you've been to court but still not been paid what you're owed,
Why don't you just tell me who you are? This is an absolute crop. You need to pay this.
the High Court enforcement officers are charged by law to recover what a court says is rightfully yours.
I've seized your car, sir.
You can either let us through the door or we'll go through the window.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
It's time to call the sheriffs.
Collected 42 grand.
Coming up, Myrna Torres paid £2,450 for a healthcare qualification from a London college, but got nothing for her money and was kicked out of the country.
She was really in tears every day, begging them for help, and they wouldn't help her.
Can the sheriffs get her life back on track?
You need to pay, otherwise we're going to be removing goods.
This Yorkshire jeweller missold an engagement ring. Sheriff Pete goes to show them that diamonds aren't forever.
Your attitude towards me isn't acceptable. I'm going to take the items with me.
And the Careless Removals Company.
It just got increasingly difficult to get any communication going with them at all.
The sheriffs go in search of redress.
That we need some kind of proof of ownership or we'll be taking it. It's as simple as that.
As another day dawns in West Yorkshire, in his van and on his way to work is Sheriff Pete Spencer. Today, he's off to see if he can bring a happy ending to a love story gone wrong.
Right, so this morning we're going to a jeweller's in Brighouse, West Yorkshire. Total amount we're looking for is £6,813.87.
The client Pete's, on his way to help, bought an engagement ring for £4,100 from Fine Design Products Limited, trading as Kingston Diamond Merchants. But the ring they came away with was a different weight, colour and clarity to the one they were originally sold. They went to court and the judge agreed the jeweller misrepresented the ring he sold them and awarded in their favour. It's now Pete's job to make love's young dream come true and get the unhappy couple their money back. And if Kingston Diamond Merchants won't pay up, Pete's happy to show them why diamonds are a sheriff's best friend.
Hopefully have goods in the shop, which we will seize on entry, and remove if need be to secure the outstanding debt. Or collect the payment in full, which hopefully we'll be able to do today.
Sheriffs like early starts, but arriving at 9 a.m, Pete might be a bit too early. The shop's yet to open. Pete manages to grab a quick word with the shop staff.
How'd you open? past. I'll wait half an hour, it's okay. Right, what she said through the window is the owner's not here till Friday, and they're not willing to deal with it seemingly, but I'm sure they'll be on the phone now to the owner to let them know somebody's outside. He needs to be getting himself down here, really, because we are looking for full payment today or to remove items from within the jewellers.
Pete takes it on trust that the jewellers will open their doors to him, but if they don't, it won't keep him out.
Well, we can force entry if need be, with it in commercial premises, but it is a last resort to force entry. Hopefully they'll see sense and open the door.
And the moment the doors do open, Pete's first through them.
Hi, good morning.
While Pete explains his visit to the staff, we're asked to stay outside the premises.
I'm an enforcement officer, so I've come to collect £6,813.87 today as we speak. The total amount due today, or seize goods.
Moments later, the shop staff get owner Mr. Kingston on the phone. He wants to know why he's had no warning he was about to be visited by a sheriff.
It's an high court writ. I definitely don't have to serve any warrant on you prior to my arrival. So I'll just explain. I've got a live I-Court writ, which means I can attend here today without prior notice to collect the outstanding amount or seize goods.
Pete warns Mr. Kingston that if he doesn't pay up, he can remove goods. Mr. Kingston continues to argue with him, and the more he does so, the more Pete's bill rises.
I think you're just delaying tactics, to be fair. Yeah, but I'm here now, that's the only problem, and... Right, well, at the moment, I'm into the next hour, so I've got to charge you.
Mr. Kingston says he's waiting for the infamous ring to be returned before he'll consider paying up. But as the judgment states that the newlyweds don't need to return the ring until they get their money back, this won't stop Pete enforcing the writ and doing his bit to stop trouble in paradise.
The case of him returning the ring isn't anything to do with me collecting his money. It's not relevant whatsoever. That's something... But that's up to you. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, best is pay it. You've got 14 days to put a claim in against it, and then you sort it from there.
If the shop owner won't pay, Pete will have no choice but to remove some products from the store. He lets Mr. Kingston know this, but the shop owner doesn't seem bothered by his threat, and it's not long before Pete's had enough.
Because of your attitude, I'm not going to leave items on site now. I was going to ring our office and see if they'd allow me to seize items on paperwork and leave them on site, but I'm not going to do that now. Due to your attitude, I'm going to take the items with me. Your attitude towards me isn't acceptable.
With no payment forthcoming or likely today, Pete decides to take decisive action and asks staff to round up some rocks.
I'm going to take approximately £28,000 worth of goods today. I've got to take quadruple the amount on the levy.
Under the orders of an officer of the High Court, they have little choice but to say, "I do." With the stones now in his hands, Pete's in a hurry to get away. He might have all the collateral he needs, but he's also now got himself a security situation, in case any potential robbers have been keeping an eye on him.
So we've moved away from the premises now, and I'm just making sure nobody's following us or anything like that. Obviously, once we're in the vehicle, it's a safe vehicle, it locks us in the vehicle. We're just going to pull into a safe place, and then we can just discuss what's happened in there and, you know, the way we're moving forward with that case.
In a secret location, Pete talks us through what the shop have told him the diamonds are worth and what happens next.
Those particular diamonds there, we've got retail value from what they're telling me of £10,000, and the trade value on those is £3,000. That's a picture of the 4 diamonds, which are 1 carat stones each, and they're retailing at 15,000, trade value of 5,000. So in this bag is the diamonds. I've asked them to, each individual one I photographed has actually gone in there. I've asked the shop and I witnessed them to seal that bag there and actually sign over the seal. I've no reason to go into that bag until it's returned to them or until it goes into auction to sell.
£28,000 of precious stones might mean different things to different people. To Pete, however, they're just part of the job.
No difference to me, it's just a bag, isn't it?
What happens to the diamonds is now up to Mr. Kingston. He's got 14 days to pay the sheriffs the £6,000 he owes. If he does, they'll give the stones back. If he doesn't, they'll auction the diamonds and give the proceeds to their client, who might finally be able to buy the engagement ring they dreamt of. Someone else looking to the sheriffs for help is solicitor Shirali Lakhani. Today, he's using the internet to talk to one of his clients, Myrna Torres.
Hello, Myrna.
She should be in the UK, but she's currently 7,000 miles away in the Philippines. And all because a British college took thousands of pounds of her savings, only to breach the contract they agreed with her.
The ANS said, "Oh, Myrna, don't worry, I'm gonna help you to renew the visa."
Myrna came to the UK 4 years ago to study, so she could become a professional health carer. Her first 2-year course went well.
She made friends here who were all warm to her, and she loved the atmosphere. So she was very happy here.
But when she enrolled in a further course at William Shakespeare College in South London, things didn't go to plan. The college was contractually obliged to supply Myrna with the form she needed to get a study visa, known as a CAS form. They gave her one, but when she sent it to the Home Office, it was rejected. It turned out William Shakespeare College wasn't a government-registered sponsor. The college had been taken over by another school, A&S Training College, who were a registered sponsor. Surely they could give her the CAS form she needed.
The college refused to give her a new letter, and she kept going back, and they kept telling her, we'll do it next week, week after, or do it tomorrow. They refused to give her the money back, and they really wouldn't do anything about it. And she was really in tears every day, begging them for help, and they wouldn't help her.
It was a desperate situation for Myrna. She'd paid 75% of her first year's fees, £2,450. She hoped the qualification would mean she could eventually earn the money back. But whatever she tried, A&S still wouldn't supply a CAS form. She was at risk of having to leave the UK.
She lost all her confidence. All she could do is cry every time you talk to her. She was thinking that she's not only lost the money, but having also lost any future she may have had in this country.
Shirali did everything he could to try and get A&S to provide Myrna with the accreditation she needed.
They just ignored all our letters. I sent them by emails, faxes, post, recorded delivery. All means they just did not even acknowledge any of the letters. Over 3 months we wrote to them, and we didn't get any response from them.
No CAS form meant no visa for Myrna. She was forced to leave the UK without the qualification she had set her heart on.
Very sad. I'm very sad because I'm going back here because I spent a lot of money to stay there in the college because I don't want to stay illegal there. So that's why I decided to go back here in the Philippines.
She was telling me that her family was probably in debts because they had to borrow in order to give her the monies for her to study. And she felt that she's let everybody down. And she was feeling that she's the one at fault. She's done something wrong. In fact, she hadn't done anything wrong. It was just that she fell victim to circumstances here.
Desperate to get Myrna some redress for the money she'd spent for nothing, Shirali took A&S Training College to court.
It's a clear-cut case. All we were asking for is a confirmation on a piece of paper required under the law. And they were not just providing it.
A&S Training College didn't contest the case, and the judge awarded in Myrna's favour. Despite this, the college has still yet to pay back a penny. If Myrna can get her money back, she still has a chance of returning to the UK to complete her studies at a different college. Determined they are going to get Myrna what she's owed, Sheriffs Mark Newton and Tony Smith arrive at A&S Training College in North London. It may be a school day, but that's not enough to put off the sheriffs. They head straight to reception, High Court writ in hand.
Hello. You all right?
Hey, Jay. It's about a High Court writ that's been issued against you from Miriam Moncada Torres.
It's against who?
A&S Training College.
Right, okay.
It originally went to the county court in May of this year.
Okay, let me just call head office.
Yeah, no problem.
The man's hoping head office knows more about the case than he does. And when he speaks to them, they tell him they think they've got a reason why they don't have to pay. They've had a name change.
A&S Training College is the old trading name of the college, so we're now Park Royal College.
All your stuff out in the foyer still got A&S Training on it?
Well, that's an old trading name. We've now switched to Park Royal College Limited.
Right. You're going to need to provide us with some proof of all this.
Yeah. They need proof of the change to Park Royal College. Would that be the...
I'm just going to go and look at the stuff on the front wall. Yeah,
The head office continues to insist they're a new company, but Tony's not won over that easily.
Yeah, okay. Well, A&S Training College doesn't exist anymore as a training company. So
well, what's all the stuff you've got in the hall as you come in, the reception? Everything on that wall is A&S Training College.
Well, we switched to Park Royal College.
Yeah, but you need to show proof of that, like a liability insurance or a company's house certificate.
Right. So
I mean, I can go into anywhere and they can tell me the name's changed. Unless you show me proof, then it means nothing.
If Park Royal College Limited is a different company, they will no longer be responsible for A&S's debt, and Mark and Tony will have to leave empty-handed. While Mark calls the office to ask them to make further checks on A&S, Tony tries to convince them that they do owe the money.
You are A&S Trading College. You're Park Royal College, but all the stuff in the reception is for A&S Training College. Well, I'm looking at your timetables on the walls here, and they're saying that 2012 to 2013. A&S Training College. It's all over the walls in this office as well. You need to prove to me that it's changed. You need to get a company's house certificate or a liability insurance. So I'm not being funny, but a liability insurance certificate should be on the wall, especially with what you do for a living.
Having called his own office, Mark's got good news.
It's just a change of name, so it doesn't matter. It's on the wall, isn't it? It's the company's house certificate to say that it's not a new company, it's changed its name to this company, so it's still, they're still liable.
Park Royal College is still the same registered company as A&S Training College. They may have changed their name, but they're still liable for the debts. Mark rams home the point.
It's just to be the change of name. It's just a change of name. It's just a change of name. No, it's just a change of names. It's a change of names. You need to pay, otherwise we're going to be removing goods.
Tony gets listing company assets that the sheriffs will seize and sell if the college won't pay up. Something the employees don't like one bit.
I really don't think that you have to...
Well, we do, because unfortunately we have to do that whether it's paid or not. We have to do it.
We have to do it whether it's paid or not.
Yeah.
It's a process, they just have to price up.
I'm not pricing it up, I'm listing it.
We're listing it, we're not pricing it up.
While the employees try to sort out what to do, the sheriffs look at assets elsewhere in the building. The computers aren't high-value items, but there are more than enough of them to seize to pay off the debt. Mark and Tony have been at the college for 40 minutes, and they're no nearer to being paid, as the college officials are still disputing payment. Mark's rapidly losing patience.
We'll give them like 30 minutes or so, and then if we don't get anywhere after that, we'll start geeing them up to basically need to start removing goods, basically.
Moments later, the employee comes back. He insists the college knows nothing about the case and that they want to get the judgment annulled.
We had no knowledge of this. Genuinely, we had no knowledge of this case, but obviously we're going to be defending that.
But Mark knows only too well. At this late stage, an appeal isn't going to stop them enforcing the writ.
The thing is, at this stage, it's a live writ. It's not, so it would need to be paid today, otherwise we will remove goods.
Right.
Whether he's defending it, whether he says he's going to go and defend it, it's entirely up to him. He can do that, but today it will need to be dealt with.
Faced with having Mark publicly removing office furniture, the college finally gives up and agrees to pay.
You guys don't do the transfer to your account?
Yeah, you do, yeah. It's on the bottom of that paperwork.
Can we do that?
You can do that as long as you're on the faster system, because we have to sit here until it's gone through.
You need to do this
Now.
Tell me now.
Because it'll start going up.
If payment goes through, it'll be a big score for Mark. He checks with the office to see if the bank transfer has been made.
Just need to check the bank and see if some money's gone in, please. Thank you. OK. Lovely, thank you.
It's a bullseye for Mark and Tony, whose persistence has paid dividends for themselves and, more importantly, for Myrna. The college, meanwhile, are keen to give their side of the story.
We didn't know this was there was a judgment against, you know. So if we knew about it, we would have contested it, you know. We got to look at what the judgment says. She wasn't provided with a letter, but if her visa was refused by UKVA, we can't keep her in the college, you know, which is against the law of the land, you know. So we'll look into it detailing and see what happens.
Mark is understandably delighted at getting the result he wanted for Myrna.
Yeah, we got there eventually. Took a while, but yeah, we got paid in full, which was a good result. We got the money, which is a lot better than us having to start removing all the computers out of there because they weren't easy to get to. and it would have taken a while. Would have just sent the bill through the roof, really, to be honest. It would have probably doubled the price of the bill by the time we'd started taking that out of there.
Most importantly, the result means Myrna finally getting the £2,736 she's owed.
I'd like to share the good news that we have recovered your money from the college.
Ah, okay. Thank you very much, sir, because I am still waiting a long time. I'm very happy because at last I got good news from you.
A&S Training College reiterated to us they knew nothing of Myrna's legal claim or the court judgment until visited by the sheriffs. Had they known about it, they say they would have contested the case, as they insist there was no breach of contract. Mark and Tony work for this High Court enforcement company in South London. They enforce over 1,000 High Court writs every month and recover over £24 million of money rightfully owed to their clients every year.
Hiya.
Good morning, sir.
My name's Mr. Briggs. I'm an enforcement officer.
Only sheriffs can execute High Court writs, and it gives them more powers than county court bailiffs to enter properties and seize assets.
Got a live High Court writ, so we're attending here today to remove that vehicle.
If no payment is forthcoming, sheriffs can seize goods to auction to pay off debts. Although removing goods is rare, happening in less than 1% of cases. This is New York, near Boston, in Lincolnshire. It may not have Manhattan's skyline, but for Keith and Chris Peabody, it was the dream life in the country they wanted after deciding to move from their home of 20 years in Dorset.
I fell in love with it as soon as I saw it. We put in an offer the following day, and luckily for us it was accepted.
Unfortunately, this move was also the start of their troubles. Once the Peabodys decided to move house, they knew it was going to be no small task.
We'd been in our old house for 20 years, so we had a lot of sort of furniture, stuff in the garage.
Looking around for a removals company, they wanted a firm that would take the stress out of the ordeal. And after searching online, they found local Dorset firm Christchurch Removals. Chris spoke to the company boss, John Green.
He was very convincing that he would do a very good job and take care of our possessions. So we went with him. It's the biggest mistake we made.
At first, the 170-mile move went well. The Peabodys were quite happy with the way the company packed their stuff and moved it out of their Dorset home. But when they got to their new New York house, the removers started to look anything but professional.
There was a reproduction Victorian bedroom chair, which was badly scratched. The top was snapped off of a garden parasol. Mr. Green told me that I could glue it together. There was some shelving that was broken, concrete planter that was smashed. Our dining room table was scratched very badly.
Upset about the damage, the Peabodys paid £900 to have their table restored, which, with the other estimated repair costs, left them wanting just over £1,000 from Christchurch Removals. Keith then got in touch with company boss John Green.
First of all, we put our complaint in writing to Christchurch Removals, along with an estimate for the damage to the table, which was the major item. And I don't think there was any response at all from them. And it just got increasingly difficult to get any communication going with them at all.
After a month of trying to get in contact, Mr. Green agreed to come to New York and inspect the damage. But Mr. Green didn't want to resolve the problem, and no refund of any sort was forthcoming. 9 months on from their move, insulted at how they'd been treated, and still without any sign of compensation, the Peabodys felt they had no choice but to take Christchurch Removals to court. The company told the court their insurers were dealing with the issue, but unimpressed by this defence, the judge awarded £1,085 in the Peabodys' favour. Since then, there's been no sign of any payment. So Chris and Keith have had to call on the help of the sheriffs. And on their way to Christchurch in Dorset to try and get their money back are Sheriffs Lawrence Griggs and Kev McNally.
We'll look to see if there's any vehicles on the driveway when we get there, potentially block the driveway or clamp any vehicles, and then we'll give it a knock and just take it from there, see if we can get somebody to answer the door.
It's just gone 6 in the morning when they arrive at the company address, which also happens to be owner Mr. Green's home.
So they want me to transit on the drive.
No sooner have they arrived than Lawrence spots a potentially seizable van on the driveway of the house they've come to visit. Kev parks across the driveway to make sure it's going nowhere fast.
Well, it looks like they've got a dog.
Yeah, brilliant. I'm not getting bitten again.
Right, it's locked.
Sheriffs are legally allowed to climb gates or perimeter walls and fences to gain entry even at residential addresses. Luckily today, Lawrence manages to find the handle.
Your front door there. Give it a bailiff knock. There we go.
Lawrence's knock has the desired effect as a bleary-eyed member of the Green family comes to the door.
I'm an enforcement officer. I'm here today to execute a High Court writ against Christchurch Removals.
The man says there's no one else in but him.
Nobody lives here, just you. Right, so who's Christchurch Removals? Is that your mum and dad, is it? Right, and the van out the front, is that Christchurch Removals van? You've no idea. You don't work for them. It's not your van.
The son says his parents run the business and that they're away.
Are you able to get one of them on the phone? You must be able to contact them. If something happens, you need to be able to contact them, don't you? Well, something's happened. Well, I've woke you up, you can wake them up. At the moment, we're here to seize goods to clear this particular debt that we've got, which, as it's looking at the moment, is going to be the van out the front. You've just said it's not yours. It relates, you know, potentially to a removals business, so we're going to be looking to seize that vehicle. So you need to get your parents on the phone. I've woken you up. It's only fair you wake them up, yeah?
The man says he knows his rights and that Lawrence has to get off the property.
No, I don't. So you clearly don't know your rights.
Getting the door slammed in their faces brings the discussion to an end. If he's to get any money back for the Pebberdys, Lawrence will need to get in touch with the owners, and to do that, he needs their son to help him make contact. Lawrence turns his attention to the van on the drive. It could become a useful bargaining chip to lure the son back out.
Yeah, definitely used for work.
Yeah? What is there, stuff in the front?
Tom Street Atlas, and there's like a webbing strap.
Time to clamp the van.
You can stick a clamp on it and sit in the van.
Yeah, that's it.
Usually, seeing the clamp go on is enough to get the debtors to pay up. But today, there's a problem.
Lawrence, where's it supposed to be?
Oh, you're joking me. Oh, have a laugh.
Oh. It should be there, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's not right.
With no clamp and no debtor to talk to, Lawrence and Kev are limited in what they can do. But they decide to wait it out until either the office opens so they can check on the ownership of the van and potentially get it towed, or the debtor agrees to talk to them.
But this is potentially worst case scenario with a residential address, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really, we need to be in dialogue, and then we can establish who is the owner of the vehicle and whether we can actually take it or not.
It's a 200-mile round trip for the sheriffs, and the chances of getting any money seem to be fading. Until suddenly,
There he is.
the son re-emerges. Worried that the van's going to be seized, he wants to show Lawrence paperwork which he thinks proves the van's owned personally by his father, not Christchurch Removals.
As this quite clearly states on it, This document is not proof of ownership. Yeah. We need some kind of proof of ownership, or we'll be taking it. It's as simple as that.
If we have to take a vehicle, you're going to be liable for more money, so, I mean, the best way to deal with it is get it paid.
Yeah, you need to get them on the phone. It's, you know, that's what phones are for contacting people when they're not around.
Getting somewhere, slowly.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, he's dealing with it now, and that's the thing. He's, you know, he's actively dealing with it, which is what you need.
Finally, after another wait, the son emerges prepared to pay up.
Did you get in touch with them, or are you just going to...
I phoned them up and said just pay it, so...
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not a huge amount of money as well, you know, it's best to get these things sorted.
Locked out of a residential property and with no clamp. At one point, all wasn't looking good for Lawrence and Kev, so they're understandably delighted to have got her paid in full.
Yeah. You've just met the A-beam. Absolutely blind. It starts as a residential for what was potentially a non-entity. That's as good as it gets on that one.
It's another triumph for the sheriffs. A paid in full for them, and for the Peabodys, finally a letter in the post.
And the payment. Oh, we got the cheque.
Brilliant.
It says we have made a payment to you of £1,222.59 in full payment of the above matter.
Oh, that's good.
Amount. Yeah. We weren't sure at any stage whether we were actually ever going to get paid or not.
We're just happy that it's all over and we can get on with our lives now.
Boss John Green told us the Peabodys refused an offer from the company's insurers. He said he had now retired and that Christchurch Removals was no longer trading. Today, Lawrence and Kev are staying close to their South London roots. They've got an appointment with a Sidcup mortgage advisor who owes money to a former client.
We're at a residential address, but apparently it is a commercial property with various companies working from it. We're looking for an S. Williams, we're looking for £2,241.32.
The lady they're on their way to help is Janet Folds. When she tried to take out a mortgage to buy a new home for her elderly father, George, she thought it would make both of their lives easier. Instead, it's seen her out of pocket, forced to go to court, and left relying on the sheriffs for help. Janet's father, George, is 87 and not in the best of health.
He's worked all his life, but he's always been disabled. From the Second World War, he's got 3 bullet wounds, I believe it is. He's always been in pain. He can't manoeuvre his leg or his shoulder. And arthritis is setting. And he's also got a heart condition. He's got anemia. And he's in quite a bad way, really. And the stairs in his house are too difficult to get up and down.
To make life easier for George, Janet decided to move him out of his old house and find a new flat which had the facilities he would need in his old age. She found just the place in Lewisham, South London. She took George to see it.
He was over the moon with it, and it would have been ideal for him.
The new flat was going to cost more than selling George's existing one would raise. They'd need a mortgage to cover the difference. And looking around for someone who could arrange one, Janet was recommended Stuart Williams. She went to meet with him and was impressed.
I've got to say, it looked very professional, and so did he. Everything in the office pointed at the fact that he was what he said he was, and a successful one at that. He said there should be no problem at all, but I'll need some money from you straight away. My father supplied the money, put it into my account, and I gave him a cheque right there and then. He said, not to worry, you've got the mortgage.
With Mr. Williams's fee paid and the mortgage in the pipeline, Janet and George thought they could relax. But a few weeks after paying the £1,500, Janet received some bad news. The buyer for her father's house pulled out, which put her whole flat purchase in jeopardy. She got back in touch with Mr. Williams.
And he suggested that my brother could buy my dad's house, which sounded a bit odd, but we said, well, he said, well, if he buys that, you can keep that, keep the house, your father goes into the flat and the house can be let. So he said, right, well, I want another £2,000. First words out of his mouth.
Thinking it their best option, Janet agreed to Mr. Williams's plan of making 2 property purchases. Using George's money, she paid the additional £2,000 fees Mr. Williams asked for. Days, then weeks went by, and there was no sign of any mortgage. Janet got back in touch with Mr. Williams, who gave her some bad news. Because there were now 2 mortgages needed, one would have to be buy-to-let. But no mortgage company would allow Janet's family to take out the riskier buy-to-let mortgage.
He said, I'm afraid we have got a problem, yeah. He said, you can't have the mortgages. Just like that. But I thought he would have told me that in the beginning, but it was purely money. That's what he could see. And me, like a fool, I let him have it.
Janet then had to tell George that she'd had to pull out of the purchase of the flat he'd fallen in love with.
My dad was so enthralled. He even packed. And he was virtually living as if he was going to move tomorrow. So I couldn't stand it no more. That night I've had to get him home. Me and my sister told him. And he was gutted.
Worse still, Mr. Williams was refusing to give back any part of the £3,500 fees Janet and George had given him, despite the fact they'd followed his advice and he had been unable to get them a mortgage. He said these fees were non-refundable.
Well, I said to him, what happens now then, thinking that he was going to say, well, we'll give you some of it back or just indicate something. So he said, nothing. And he looks at me as if I was asking something really, really strange. And by now I was getting up. And no, he said, that's the end of it. You've got no mortgages. There is no mortgage. And I just sort of walked out there a bit dumbstruck, really. And it wasn't until I got outside and thought of what I really felt about him that I made my mind up one way or the other I was going to get the money back, whatever way it took.
Determined not to let Mr. Williams get away with her father's money, Janet investigated legal action. She took out a county court action against him. To Janet's surprise, Mr. Williams admitted liability and agreed to pay her what she was owed.
He admitted the whole amount and said, but my defence is he's in financial difficulty. And I thought, right, well, they said he's asking for time to pay. So I wrote back and said, well, how long will that, will this be? So they said he'll send you £2,000 within 14 days, and the rest he'll pay in February of this year.
Mr. Williams paid Janet the first £2,000, but after that, nothing. And now, 9 months on, she's still waiting for her money. With nowhere left to turn, her last hope now rests with the sheriffs. Guided by their trusty sat-nav, they arrive at the address named on the writ, park up, and prepare for action.
Hi there.
There's just one problem.
We're looking for S. Williams? No?
This isn't the right house.
Stupid sat-nav.
The couple at the door tell them the address they need is actually round the corner.
Right, thanks very much.
Why do I get the blame for the sat-nav thing from?
Oh, I said stupid sat-nav.
And it seems they mistook the sheriffs for something quite different.
I guess we're bailiffs straight away. What was that all about?
No, I said, what have we won?
Oh, what have we done?
No, what have we won?
Well, they thought we were lottery.
2 minutes in the van, and they find the address they're after nearby. Time to try again. But will this house be the office they're after?
Hello, I'm looking for an S. Williams.
I'm a bit worried about the,
Yeah.
She's loitering.
Yeah, go and have a word with her.
Right.
Show your ID.
Worried about getting a parking ticket, Kev goes looking for a parking space, while Lawrence goes into the office upstairs to introduce himself to the man who buzzed him in.
Hello, it's you that buzzed me in, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, I'm looking for Mr. S. Williams.
What, it's not me?
No, I appreciate that. So you don't know of a Mr. Williams here?
Well, I do know him, but I'm not saying he's not here currently, so if I can tell you
Right.
who you are and then get him to call you,
Mr. Grick's an enforcement officer. If you're able to get him on the phone and just tell him there's an enforcement officer here for him.
As the somewhat surprised office administrator goes to call Mr. Williams with the news he has a visitor, Kev returns, having had no luck finding somewhere to park.
If you want to keep your eye on the van.
Are you up for it?
Yeah, I'll shout you if I need you.
Lawrence will now have to try and get Janet her money back without his partner's help. He tries to find out a bit more about where Mr. Williams might be.
Was he out at a client's or something, is he?
No, he's just at home, that's what it was.
Is that far away?
No, not really.
Perhaps he needs to come here and sort it out then.
He decides it's time to bypass the man in the office and talk to the broker directly. Can Lawrence persuade him to come down and pay up?
Hello, sir. Yeah, my name's Mr. Griggs. I'm an enforcement officer. I'm here today to execute a High Court writ on behalf of our claimant, J. Folds, and we're here today to seize goods to the value of £2,241.32. If you wish to prevent further action, you need to pay that amount in full. OK. All right, cheers. Bye-bye.
That was a lot easier than expected.
He knows who she is. He's not happy about her, but he's going to the money. They're going to the bank to get the money out, I believe. Okay. He said, "I'll go to the bank and get the cash out now."
But a sheriff as experienced as Lawrence knows until the money's in his hand, nothing's guaranteed.
What I have to do, I have to seize goods within here. That's what I'm sent out for today, is to seize goods to clear the debt. We're not here for the money. Right. We're here to seize goods he should have paid at the CCJ stage. Right. He didn't, for whatever reason.
Yeah. What do you want to do then?
I just have to list everything down. It won't take me long.
Okay.
To keep the pressure up, he gets on with listing all the goods in the office.
It's a shredder, is it, this thing here?
If any of these belong to Stuart Williams, and he gets cold feet about paying up, they can be removed and sold to pay his debt.
No, it's all right.
You're right.
Yeah.
As Lawrence finishes listing assets, Stuart Williams calls to say he's minutes away. But he's also heard about our camera and wants us out of the office, now. A few minutes later, Mr. Williams arrives and goes in to speak to Lawrence, who's ready with the figure he's there to collect. But will Mr. Williams agree to pay?
£41.32p. 40, yeah, £1.32p.
Stuart Williams hands over the full amount owed, in cash.
Cash, nil balance. You can just sign and print for me. There you go, there's your receipt. I'll leave you in peace. Bye-bye.
It's the perfect result for Lawrence and great news for Janet and her father George.
You paid in full? Bosh.
Bish, bash.
Finally, they'll now get back their money in full.
It's all in there. The guy knew about the debt. He didn't want the aggravation, so he just went and got the money and paid it. We're done and dusted, and that's the end of it.
This is a letter from the sheriff to say that they successfully got my money back. I feel good now to know that we've got it back from my dad. I'd like to have been there when they went in there. It's just satisfying knowing that I've got this back. I hope other people do what I've done.
A few days after Pete removed £28,000 of diamonds from Kingston Diamond Merchants, owner Mr. Kingston paid the £6,000 debt. The diamonds have now been returned to him, and the couple he missold an engagement ring to have been paid in full.